Ski School. It's not about learning how to ski. For Dave Marshall and his gang, life is one big party.
Welcome to my kingdom. I will bed you all before the night is through.
They're the best at what they do.
I've been watching you ski. You're really good.
May I present to you Section 8?
But the competition is fierce.
The dead. I control this mountain, and I say this is your last year.
With their backs against the wall, they'll do anything to win.
Do you want to have sex with me?
Okay. Let's get naked!
They've got style.
Let the games begin.
Class.
Was it something about your wigwam?
Oh. And the perfect secret weapon.
Who is she? Where does she come from? You really care? Oh my God.
If they don't win, they'll lose the mountain forever.
Scum. Let's settle this once and for all. The best against the best, what do you say? Sure. And we ski the dome.
So for the wildest, most outrageous ride of your life, check into Ski School.
Anyone for a hot tub?
I love my life.
Ski School. It's not about learning how to ski.
Did we win?
Welcome to They Call This a Movie, testing the strength of friendships one terrible movie at a time. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and other podcast services by searching They Call This a Movie, and find us on Twitter and Instagram at TicTamPod. That's TCTAM Pod. Welcome back to They Call This a Movie. This is Anthony Delvecchio, and with me as always is Dan Aquino and Mark Meyer. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hey, friends.
Hello, everyone. I know this is a little spoiler to what our movie is this week, but I didn't realize until I started looking up the movie to watch that there was a lot of ski resort movies in the 80s that apparently that was the thing. I think there's 3 or 4 of them I came across that are all the same general concept of movie. I gotta talk to someone to see if what was the big fascination with the ski resort where teens went to party or whatever this is, because there are 2 that we talked about that were pretty close to each other in name, and then there's just a couple of weird offshoot ones. It's just a weird concept movie that just seems to be segmented to a certain time frame. It was just weird. It's just something I was thinking about when looking this up.
I think a lot of it has to do with skiing might have been seen as a very rich or yuppie type of activity, so you could easily poke fun at it. And one of the movies, what was the movie with Corey Haim that we covered? That he
Blown
was
Away?
Blown Away. That took place at a ski resort, did it not?
It did.
It did, right? But I don't remember there being any skiing in it.
I don't remember there being any skiing in there either.
It's specifically, the movie specifically took place after the ski resort closed. They were the people behind closing it up or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just weird.
Well,
I don't know how weird it was, though. Because skiing is a popular thing.
Yeah, but it just seemed like all these types of movies popped up all around the same time frame.
and my guess is that Ski Patrol did really well, and then you just had a whole bunch of copycats.
That could be true, too.
That would make more sense, right? If someone catches the ski fever.
Yeah. I will say that the movie we watched this week, regardless of whether or not it bites off Ski Patrol, isn't exactly the most original film. So I don't think this subgenre is a wealth of originality. So let's just say that.
The best thing to come out of this movie was the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where they go skiing. I think it's The Gang Hits the Slopes. And it's a direct... it's basically a sequel to this movie.
I was thinking the same thing, Dan.
Oh, it's great. It's easily it's one of my favorite episodes of the show. So when I turned the movie on and I heard the disembodied voice, I was like, "Oh, this is exactly what they this is exactly what they were riffing on."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. this week was Dan picked. Dan, why don't you tell us what movie we watched this week?
Spoiler alert, or FYI, this was not my original movie. So I had picked out something completely different. I think the movie I'd picked out was Zombie Strippers with Robert Englund and Jenna Jameson. So this was not the original pick, but Tubi decided to get rid of my pick. I don't know exactly when, but so thank you, Tubi, for making me do extra work. I thought I was done. I picked my movie out. I was ready to go. And then Anthony had to give me the bad news. It's not on there anymore. So I did some digging, and I decided to go with the 1990 comedy, quote unquote, Ski School.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where are you coming from with it, Dan?
Again, I'd heard about it, but the most I really knew was the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode. One of the main characters makes a return in that episode, Dean Cameron's Dave Marshak.
Yeah.
He's in it, but he's like a weird perv. He's a perv in this movie too, so it's...
Yeah. I was going to say, does he play Dave Marshak in that episode of It's Always Sunny?
That'd be funny if he did. I forget if he did too.
Yeah, I can't remember. But he has like the long hair, and it turns out to be a wig because he's in his 50s at this point, most likely. And he gets arrested at the end for I think having sex with underage girls. It's Always Sunny type of episode. But yeah, I'd never seen it. I'd never, like Mark was saying, I'd never really cared too much about skiing or ski movies. So this movie didn't really jump on my radar. And again, this wasn't even my first pick. So I just kind of rolled the dice on this movie. And I'm kind of glad I did, because this movie gives us a lot to delve into. It's I think it was just an excuse to look at naked women, because in the opening credits there's nudity, and I can't remember the last time I've seen nudity in opening credits.
It's been a while on this podcast, at least.
Yeah,
at the very least, right? And I think that's a huge indicator of what your movie's going to be if you have to resort to nudity within the first 20 seconds of your movie. Like you're basically throwing it out there that this is all we got. Don't expect much more. We're gonna have a lot of hot chicks for no reason naked on top of a mountain. It's the worst climate to get naked in.
Because that's what yuppies do.
But they're not even yuppies. They're just random women who are at ski school getting naked.
They're part of the party crowd.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm glad you brought that up, Ant, because the main characters are... This movie wants to be Animal House so badly.
Yes.
And it fails miserably because there's no charismatic character. Yeah. They're all creeps.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's no real plot until maybe close to the second act of the movie ending is when the plot kind of kicks in. So again, I think it was just, hey, let's get some money together, get some hot women, and see if we could film them naked. And we'll try to build around that.
Yeah. All right. Mark, where are you coming from with Ski School?
Yeah, so in the same boat as Dan. I had heard of this on the periphery. Mainly the people at my work that talk about, these so bad it's good movies. Mentioned Ski School a bunch. I hadn't seen it before, so I was happy to jump in and noticed immediately, like Dan said, in the first 5 minutes, it just went straight to the boobs. And I was like, all right, I think I know what I'm in for. And then it showed what mountain they were on. I was like, oh, this is going to be a Canadian sex comedy. Got it. So some of the humor, didn't land or land the way it probably did back then, maybe for certain points. And I guess Dave Cameron's character was supposed to be the charismatic, likable, like he's the cool guy you should be rooting for. That's the rebel or whatever. And like you said, he doesn't really, get to that point at all in this movie. He's probably the least creepy of the guys. And I think his best friend Fritz, for like the first 10 minutes that I saw him, I'm like, we've seen him before. And then I looked it up and I found that he's in Teen Wolf 2.
Mhm.
I believe I think he's the best friend character in that movie. But yeah, it very much felt like they went to shoot this movie without much of a plot outside of the, like you said, Animal House, rich group against the group that just likes to party, and how, they clashed because of that. And for most of the movie, it was like, why is that first school like the popular one, the one that's all the stuck-up people, but the party school seems to be where everybody wants to be? Like, it was just, they didn't really at any point make them the underdog. They were always like the crowd favorite the entire time.
Yeah.
And then even at the end, when they go to win, they use underhanded tactics, which maybe that's a relic of, 80s, 90s, when it was like, get them back at what they did to you to win, instead of the, more triumphant thing that comedies like this have done recently, where you just win by, being better and playing by the rules or whatever. I'm thinking like Dodgeball, for instance. But yeah, it just felt like an excuse that they just went up there and partied with like a 4-page script and just ad-libbed most of the scenes. I'd be shocked if some of them weren't. And then literally nobody faced any consequences on the Section 8 team for anything they did. Fritz, basically spies on that girl like 2 or 3 times, but yet at the end, she gets together with him. The one guy, Johnny, literally sleeps with the sexy older woman and then still ends up with the girl he's supposed to end up with. And then they all succeed at the end, and the island is now a party, or the mountain is a party mountain now. And it just felt like there was like no stakes or anything. Maybe at most, maybe for like 5 minutes there were. But yeah, it had some good moments of laughter, and mainly through performance and not so much plot. But yeah, it was something. And we haven't had one of these movies in a while on this podcast.
Okay. Yeah, as for me, about the same. It's Animal House on a mountain, and nobody is particularly charismatic. Dean Cameron is trying to be Van Wilder, but he is not. He is not Ryan Reynolds. And yeah, there's so many times where this movie is just beats, like literal plot points that are just ripped out of Animal House. They have a food fight with snowballs in this movie.
That's right.
They're on double secret probation in the third act, essentially. And yeah, but it's the movie I thought it was going to be. Slobs versus snobs, taking the starch out of those stuffed shirts. Always fun, but just kind of fine. Not that much skiing, even less school. So the title is a little bit of a misnomer.
Yeah,
not that I wanted to see a whole lot of school. Yeah, they even have a line in it like this ski school. It's like, but apparently, Dean Cameron is supposed to be an instructor. That doesn't come into play, except for instructing those guys how to get laid.
And he's really good at hypnosis, apparently.
Yeah, committing crimes. It can't be legal, right? Hypnotizing people in their sleep can't be legal.
And this mountain is filled with the deepest sleepers you'll ever come across, because he's next to people, talking to them.
Yeah.
Wake up. He's right there.
Now I'm looking up. Is it legal to hypnotize someone in their sleep?
You would have to give consent.
Right.
Yeah, because you can't try to hypnotize someone without their knowing.
And the one that's played, for laughs, I still don't understand the reason for him doing it. He's hypnotizing the one guy to not have sex anymore.
You never see him have sex in the first place.
Yeah, that's rude. It's supposed to be your buddy.
Right.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't even like this guy has sex and then he's bad at skiing after having sex. It's like, oh man, we got to have him not have sex so that he can be better at skiing.
So that's the problem. There's nothing that drives the plot forward in this movie. It's just intermittent skiing scenes, and then in between, it's them trying to get laid or getting laid, partying. Parties coming out of nowhere. There's nothing. There's no lore about Section 8.
Yeah.
Like, why is it so popular? Why are they the cool kids on campus?
The closest we get to lore is that Mushak, Dave Cameron's character, is like a legend of the mountain or something, and used
For
to be
whatever reason.
or used to be the best skier or something, and that's the only reason Section 8 stays around, because he's a folk hero or something. But we never find out why.
No, no one has a story arc.
Yep. No. And even every time they come in contact with some sort of adversary or adversarial kind of moment, it's just like they just shrug it off. Who cares? I'm gonna make this sarcastic comment, and then we're just gonna like lambada into the next scene.
Yeah.
Which is is some skiing scenes and then another party scene.
Yeah.
And women like swoon over these guys. Yeah. Dave Marshak and Fitz.
Fritz or Fritz. Something like that.
It's Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
80s Rob Schneider.
Yes. when they show up in the sauna amongst all these women, none of them scream, "How did you get in here? Get out, you creeps!" Yeah. They just automatically go, "Oh my god, look, they're so funny." Like, what? How does that happen?
Yeah, teach us the lambada.
Yeah, teach us the lambada, right? I think, Mark, you probably hit the nail on the head where these guys had the outline of a little script. Like, all right, let's just party and we'll kind of write as we go. Because that's how the movie feels, right? It's partying and then, we got to put a scene that kind of explains what's going on next.
Yeah, everything feels like they filmed it and then realized they needed a reason for it. Like take the competition, for instance. So I have no idea how the scoring works or how they're going up and down so easily and quickly at all in the competition. But then at the very end, you're like, oh, he needs a 2-minute and 22-second time, to win this event. He's got to come under that because that's how we've been scoring this without ever showing us that. And then, obviously he gets the 222 and it ties. And then they decide to have a race down the dome, which now lives in lore with the Devil's Backbone as locations in movies that are just named something to have a cool name and not really explained as to why they're called that.
Yeah.
And then even it goes, oh, you don't want to go this way. It's a really hard jump. And then he goes that way and the jump's not even that bad.
No.
Comparatively.
Yeah. And
everything else.
The dome isn't even talked about before that.
No. You see in the beginning. That's it.
Yeah. And we don't know it's the dome.
Exactly.
So there's no tension building.
Yeah.
It would have been smarter to have Roland's character kind of like trying to conquer the dome throughout the movie, and he just can't quite get it. And then at the very end, he overcomes the bad guy on the obstacle that he was having difficulty with. Yeah, that's how you would do a normal movie.
Yeah, like have an arc. Like he's scared of the jumps.
Yes.
So, and the only way to beat this guy on the dome is to take the hard route with the jump. And he's got to overcome that.
Yeah, believe in himself.
Yeah.
He suffers no hardships. He bangs 2 gorgeous women. That's his hardship. Which one should I go with first?
Yeah. Like, 80s Brie Larson's mad at me for banging the Playboy model.
Oh,
but then my buddy Marshak hypnotizes her so that she's the next scene that I see her in. She's ass to God playing Twister, and we fuck
immediately.
Yeah.
This movie had the audacity to put in a Top Gun scene where, like the Take My Breath Away scene, where Tom Cruise is making love, and they do the same exact thing where they both kind of lay down at the same time. Like, don't reference a better movie in your movie.
This movie, that's all it does.
Yeah, it's piggybacking off of much better movies.
I think Damian Lee knew a guy that like owned a mountain resort and was like, "Hey, it's closed for the weekend. You want to shoot a movie here? Just bring up a whole bunch of coke. Maybe you could bang people that are 15 years younger than you."
Yeah, it's just a bunch of women who thought that they were getting their start. Just lied to. Like, oh yeah, no, this is gonna be the gateway for you. Trust me, this is gonna be a banger.
Yeah, everybody skiing the other kinds of slopes.
Oh yes,
there
definitely hitting the powder. That's something
You
that I
guys
would
ski?
kind of come back.
You
People just
guys
doing
ski before?
No, it's funny. We were actually Jen and I were talking about that earlier. That we have never. Oh, Jen said she had gone cross country skiing for some reason.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, why would you do that to yourself?
It's just exercise.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I hate all things cold, so I wouldn't be caught dead on a mountain.
Cross country skiing is like, hey, you like walking? Here, make it harder.
Let's make it 100 times harder.
What about you, Mark? You ever ski before?
Yeah, I actually we went on a ski trip with school one time. Weirdly enough, only
That's not
once.
Weird. I think everybody goes. I think that's how everybody skis for the first time with ski club. That's how first time I skied or technically snowboarded.
Yeah, so I went up there. The best part was, I wasn't really great at it, but I would try. The way they teach you to stop wasn't the way I stopped. I would sort of just turn and then lose all my momentum. Instead of doing like pizza fries or whatever.
Pizza and French fry.
French fries. So one time I was trying to do that, and some snowboarder cut in front of me. Not his fault, because I shouldn't have been turning into the lane. And then I just stopped and I fell forward and did a little crash out thing, and that was how I stopped.
Gotcha.
Didn't stop me from going on the mountain, but I didn't do anything correctly. It was a ton of fun, and never went and did it again.
There you go. I snowboarded when I was 14, but I think that's everybody. I think unless their parents ski and they take them when they're younger, I think most of the people like ski club in high school or middle school is their first time. I think it's probably also their first time away from their parents for an overnight ski trip somewhere. Mm-hmm. But the one time I've skied official skiing is hyperbolically I say it's the most miserable I've ever been in my entire life. I can't ski, I can't fall, and more specifically, I can't get up after falling. So it was a nightmare. And I can't pizza. My legs, the way my feet are shaped, positioned, my knees positioned, my feet have a natural outward point. So French frying is awkward to me, and pizza is even more awkward to me. So my wife and I almost divorced yelling at each other because I could not figure out. I couldn't do what she was asking me to do. She kept saying, "Your back, the backs of your skis are crossing." It's like I know, I can't stop it.
So this was on the mountain.
On the mountain, I made it down in 3 hours. I made it down the bunny hill twice.
Oh,
and then I said, "I'm done. I'll see everybody in the bar when everybody's done for lunch."
That's the only good part about it, from what I'm told, is that there's the lodge with the bar.
Yeah, we'll never do it again.
I would never do it either. We were talking about it before. I was saying that what brought it up was I was saying I hope our kid enjoys the cold, because our house is always cold. And then Jen goes, well, hopefully not, because that means we'd have to take him skiing. Well, I'm not doing that. You could do that. And that's when she brought up, yeah, I've gone cross country skiing. That's just, again, utter insanity, but teach their own.
Yeah.
I think the most harrowing part to me was getting off the lift.
Oh yeah, I could imagine having some anxiety getting on and off the lift.
Yeah, trying to make sure to not fall.
Yeah,
but the good thing about that big crash I had, my skis came off, my feet came off the skis, so it was easy getting back up. I just had to go collect my skis.
You didn't do any sick flips?
No, I went really fast on the mountain. That's relative. I wasn't going downhill skier fast, but that was my problem. Is I didn't know I was Luis Mendoza on skis.
That would be such an interesting thing to pick up immediately, I think, because it's not something you would inherently be good at, right? No one is a natural at skiing, I would think.
Well, I'll say, I think, unless if you have issues with the way your legs bow and stuff like Ann has, having issues doing it. I think doing just the downhill part, just getting speed, just getting your legs over top of your shoulders and going straight.
Mm-hmm.
I think just about anybody can do that, unless if they have some body issue. But it's the whole going to side to lose speed and turn and stop. That's always the hard part that you probably should take lessons for before trying to go down a full a full mountain. That's why the bunny slope is there.
I had a hard time. I played ice hockey. I had a hard time stopping on skates. I can't imagine it would be good on skis.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, I think it's the same problem. I couldn't stop skating either.
I would just gradually lose momentum.
Yeah,
and just hope that I stopped where I wanted to stop.
Yeah. That's how I did the skiing. I would make a left turn and just lose the momentum as the ground got flat. And
pray that you stop before it runs out of space, essentially.
Yeah. And that's where my big crash came from. Is someone cut in front of me while I was trying to lose momentum, and then I tried the sudden stop, and then all my momentum just threw me forward.
I think what we've gotten out of this conversation is that skiing is fucking terrible.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even try snowboarding.
No,
I don't think I have the body.
I'm not cool enough to do that.
I feel like my feet, the way they point out, might be better for snowboarding.
Yeah, you might be a better snowboarder.
Yeah.
When you were mentioning the back of the skis touching, I'm like, my whole thing is I would be terrible with the balance on the snowboard. But yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. It was fun. Like I said, I did regular mountain stuff, going fast, but it was like stopping. That was the problem. We had only other thing I remember is we had one kid that just was awful at getting off the ski lift, which is probably where my anxiety came from. He would just always face plant when he got off the ski, could never land on the ski. And so every time I would go, I would just think of that person.
I also, maybe it's just me, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't find anything inherently sexy about skiing or snowboarding or being on a mountain, right? It's always painted as this really romantic thing. Or
I'm guessing the one thing, again, I probably feel it a little bit more than you do, Dan, in terms of that. But I think it's more so the idea is that it's so cold that being next to each other, and doing things to warm each other up.
Oh.
Sort of the idea in front of a fire, that's where the romantic stuff comes from. I think and I think skiing is just the sexiness comes from just anything with athletics does. If you look good already, you're going to look good skiing.
Yeah.
So
and that was kind of the John Rowland character, right? Like the 80s Brie Larson was attracted to him because he was really good on a practice run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did they not have like a prior relationship?
Did they?
They didn't mention
it. It felt like the first time they saw each other, it felt like a knowing glance. Like, oh, hey, how's it going?
Maybe
but it never comes up.
No. And she's totally down with the party group from the get-go. Like there's
party girl.
There's no trying to sway her. She's just
she even jumps into all their schemes.
Exactly.
Yeah, immediately. She's an accomplice in what has to be a crime.
Of filming someone while without their consent. Yeah. She coerces these two guys from the rich group. What is Section 1, I guess?
Probably.
Now, maybe I might have missed this too, but obviously the Section 1 group is the stuffed shirt, right? As you were saying, outside of the main villain, I don't really remember them being all that bad. They were just kind of, they were henchmen, but they never did anything terrible, did they?
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed like they had control of the mountain because they got all the officials and all to help them sabotage Section 8 in that one scene.
But they weren't like going around and, giving them wedgies or, punching them out. They were just kind of like hanging around the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
I guess guilty by association.
Yeah, and he didn't even do anything outside of being an asshole.
Yeah.
Either.
And until the end, I guess, when they sabotage them on the mountain.
Yeah, but that's like happens once.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the time, Section 8 gets the upper hand on them all the time.
I was going to say, I think at that point, Section 8 has kind of deserved it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel bad for Section 8.
Well, they didn't feel bad either. They just rolled it off. Oh, Lambada. And just moved on to the next scene.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
Good. I was going to say, I think they only had money for 2 stunt skiers, and they made it the John Roland character and the main villain, because everyone else just looked like the actor trying to ski.
Yeah,
they were all terrible.
Yeah, they fixed that in editing.
Yeah, that's why they didn't show the other people, skiing too much.
Even the main, who's the main bad guy? Derek?
Reed.
Even Reed's girlfriend wanted nothing to do with him, but I don't really know why.
Yeah.
It's just from the get-go, she's kind of flirting with Fitz.
Yeah.
And does Fitz wind up with her at the end?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I don't know if he actually winds up with her, and that would be a wasted arc.
Yeah, they have the weird thing where he's creeping on her from the roof while she's topless in the hot tub, and then she just likes it.
Yeah. She was all for it. This movie brought feminism back 50 years.
It definitely does.
It's like, it's good to be oogled by men.
Yeah. Just objects for men to use in various ways. Like the girls that take their tops off on the mountain to distract the other skiers.
I was just going to say that. Right, girls, lift them up. Yeah, literally just objects.
Yeah.
And the women are just supposed to kind of be there for them. Even Roland and 80s Brie Larson, when she finds out that, I don't even know if she finds out he hooked up with the rich woman, Victoria. I don't know. She just realizes he was gone for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they saw them flirting at the lodge before the snowball fight.
That's right. Yeah. Well, she's totally flirting with him. Yeah, but again, I know she was hypnotized, but the whole message of the movie is just roll with it, ladies. Just have fun for men.
Yeah. So, Ski School from 1990 is directed by Damian Lee, who directed Abraxas Guardian of the Universe,
Ooh.
Terminal Rush, and Moving Target. Stars Dean Cameron, Tom Bresnahan, Patrick LeBurteau, Mark Thomas Miller, Spencer Rochfort, Darlene Vogel, Stuart Fratkin, Charlie Spradling, and Avia Fabian. IMDb score of 4.9, Rotten Tomatoes score of 59%. But no budget information, but a box office of $18,000. A runaway hit. All right. You guys want to get to the plot?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, what you got for us?
Okay, guys. Please go check out the two friends of the podcast. If you've listened to this show before, you know who I'm talking about. The Top 10 with Tia being the first one. We've had Tia on the podcast several times. She's a lot of fun. She's a great person. So please go check out her podcast where her and her co-host Brittany run down top 10 lists of the week. If you go over to geekvibesnation.com, should be there. And also Mark's very own podcast with our good friend Tom called the Game Vault Podcast, where he and Tom run down their video game news of the week, what games they're playing, anything you should kind of be on the lookout for. And they also review old school games. So if you're like me and enjoy Super Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation games, you should definitely check it out because they play a lot of good oldies. And you could follow them on their socials at Game Vault Pod. You should also check them out on Twitch at Game Vault Pod.
Okay, great. And we're going to take a quick break, and you guys are going to listen to messages from friends of the podcast. So we will be right back. And welcome back. Now it's time to get into plot for Ski School. And this is going to be a little bit different than we usually do. I'm trying something out, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so Ski School is your classic slobs versus snobs story, pitting the Powder 8, some hard partying skiers, against the stuffed shirts of Nepo baby rich kids. There's very little skiing, even less school, but what it lacks it makes up for in partying, boobs, and story beats, and more or less cribs right out of Animal House and Revenge of the Nerds. You meet John E. Rowland, a serious skier that immediately comes under the ire of classic rich asshole kid Reed Janssens. And rather than embrace fellow skier, Reed sends him to Section 8, a group of guys that are more interested in sarcastic asides, partying, and various shenanigans that border on crimes. Leader of Section 8 is Marshak, that one guy from summer school, as he's the most senior of Section 8. There's also Fitz, Styles from Teen Wolf 2, who I thought was Boner from Growing Pains the entire movie. And then another guy that has as many lines as brain cells, who I think his name is Ed.
Oh, is he the one that they
hypnotize?
Hypnotize to not have sex?
Yeah, right? It was so weird.
Yeah. Again.
Just goofing.
Not a good friend thing to do.
No, no, because all the other hypnotizing is you're gonna be the best at skiing. You're gonna forgive our friend, but you're not allowed to have sex. Was he just taking too much of the women?
Maybe they were jealous.
Maybe.
Right? Because maybe Dave was like he keeps getting all that good, and doesn't leave any for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, my immediate first problem with this movie. I know we were talking earlier about some other stuff, but the from a story standpoint, when Roland is sent to Section 8, there's nothing that changes in Roland. He's a good skier at the beginning. He's a good skier at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So what I thought was going to happen was Roland was kind of like a dork, where he was very reserved, and Dave Marshak and Section 8 were going to bring him out of his shell. But he's a stud the entire movie.
Right. Like, so a more competent Animal House has like the Tom Hulse character.
Yes.
And the other guy who are dorks.
Right. And then throughout the movie, they become one of the
right.
God, I can't believe I forgot the house name.
Robot House?
Yes.
Delta House. Robot House?
Yeah, but that's how it should have been, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm just here to ski, man. I don't have time to party. Skiing is partying, dude. And then he learns that.
Right. But no, just fits right in immediately.
Yeah, they love him.
Yep. Section 8's MO is to kick it free and easy and disrupt the more serious rich people on the mountain, even turning their hoity-toity parties into a kegger in which they get up to borderline homophobic shenanigans and videotaping people without their permission with the help of 1980s version of Brie Larson, of which John E. might have some sort of past with, but that is debatable.
Yeah, the best part about this is that the Ed character, the one guy that told not to have sex, is apparently a video wizard as well. He's he's like in there, like changing cameras and lights and being able to edit on the fly, apparently.
Yeah.
To put that video together really quickly. Like
edits in camera.
Yeah.
He works in the truck.
Yeah,
Pretty good, man.
This man has some skills.
He should be using that for real world purposes, like making money.
Yeah. And now, 30 years later, he's in charge of deepfakes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's the creepy coworker, right? Who's like making all like, oh, check this out, bro. Like, all right, man, listen, you come at me again, I'm going to have to report you to HR. I don't want to see your weird deep fakes of what's her name? Sydney Sweeney.
Fitz, meanwhile, is constantly spying on one of Reed Jansen's girls in various stages of undress, and Marshak is never hurting for women. Interspersing some ski footage, we aren't too worried about skiing until the last 10 minutes. Or school, except for when this movie wants to remind us once again that it's an animal house on a mountain. But it's not a slobs versus snobs on a mountain story without some sort of land developer B story. And it comes in the form of the ski school administrator who is trying to close a deal for the mountain resort. But Section 8's antics are turning off the investors. So he sicks Reed and his boys on Section 8 to put the fear of God in them and to stay away from the slopes. That can't stop Section 8's willingness to party down or try some subliminal hypnosis on their Section 8 mates, including trying to convince John E. that he's the best at skiing or to get their buddy Ed to stop having sex with women, we mentioned. And then they stop the shenanigans to try to teach a sauna full of half-naked women how to lambada.
Which is borderline, maybe not even borderline, like offensive. The whole flashback scene.
Oh, yeah.
Just them dressed in native garb.
Yeah.
Why did they make it a caveman thing? The lambada it's a Spanish dance.
I don't know.
Why not just do that?
Because they were writing it on the mountain, as we said, Dan.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
And stirring up additional trouble for John E. and 80s Brie Larson is the arrival of Playboy playmate Ava Fabian, who strolls around looking expensive. But 80s Brie Larson says they're not exclusive, so she doesn't mind when she sees this glamorous woman chatting up John E. before a snowball fight breaks out in the cafeteria, once again making us remember Animal House. The administrator has had enough, so he tells Section 8 that he's going to the school board to see to the end of them, effectively putting them on double secret probation. This doesn't stop Marshak from throwing another rager and infiltrating Reed's group's personal gym. But Johnny doesn't go to that rager. He's over at Ava Fabian's room with 80s Brie Larson, the furthest thing from his mind, and then they fuck.
Yeah, and it was like you were almost waiting for like the husband to come home at any point in the scene between Johnny and Ava Fabian.
Right, kind of like Caddyshack.
Yeah,
with Danny and the Judge Smale's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You never told me you were married.
The scene is wildly more softcore porn than I was expecting.
Yeah,
he buries his face in between her breasts.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that.
I figured it was gonna be like she was gonna take her top off, and it was like he's gonna go in, and then just cut away.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
girl, missionary.
Yeah. And that opening scene with, like you said, with the burying his face, it was like that very much felt like a when in Rome situation. Well, I might as well do it. They might cut it, but
I think the director was telling him, "Yeah, get in there.
Yeah,
get in there, Tom." What would you do in this situation?
Yeah. With a little bit of skiing, we see Section 8 starting to slip in the annual ski pageant rankings, thanks to some underhanded tactics, aka outright cheating, by Reed's team, putting them all the way down to 8th.
I love how one of the consequent things is that they basically just shoulder tackle, like the one person as soon as they come out of the starting gate, and somehow there's no consequences for Section 1. And that when it's pretty obvious that they instigated it.
One of the guys lassos Marsh.
Oh, yeah. I think Reed does.
Yeah, he drags him down the mountain. And what's worse is Section 8 doesn't protest at all. They just accept it. Like, yep, that's skiing.
It's like, man, we just had a bad day.
Right.
Yeah, let's go party.
Rough day on the slopes.
Maybe the pageant is no rules.
That would be great if they said that.
Right? It was a full contact slalom.
Yeah, give me any rules, anything. Just that's all I wanted.
Yeah, give us an outline.
But Section 8 licks their wounds with another party, even though 80s Brie Larson is upset with John E. But Marshak uses sleep hypnosis on her, and before you know it, she's playing Twister before she jumps Johnny's bones, and they fuck. Board of directors lay down the decision, and Section 8 gets expelled. So they go back to the room to give a John Belushi speech, and they decide to bring the party to the mountain and crash the competition that they just got it kicked out of. Really taking the starch out of those stuffed shirts. So the administrator decides that if Section 8 calms down their antics, they could ski. So they ski and do well enough and cheat enough that they wind up tying Reed's team. And Marsh. Yeah.
What was he hoping to accomplish with that decision, with letting Section 8 ski?
I guess they could go, I guess, because his whole thing is he doesn't want Section 8 to be a nuisance, so he could close the deal. And I guess they were being a nuisance, so he wants to calm them down.
Yeah, he wants the deal to close. Yeah,
basically.
It's like children. Like, all right, if you stop yelling for 10 minutes, I will give you everything you want. Because he had won, essentially, at that point. They were banned.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't have been able to close that $1 million deal
and
if all they did was party on the mountain.
Spoiler alert, he doesn't get his way at all.
Well, they do close the deal.
He does close the deal, but the person that buys it is more interested in partying down.
Oh, so he knew about the sale.
I don't know if he knew specifically it was that woman or what her intentions were.
But he knew that it was going to be sold to someone.
Yeah. He was he just wanted to make money.
Oh, okay.
And he thought he was selling it to somebody with his kind of mind, and it was like rich people haven, basically.
Gotcha. Okay. I see. I missed that part.
But she's more interested in Party Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, yeah, I totally missed that. I thought he was trying to keep the mountain away from people like that, and she just winds up buying it.
He wants to keep the mountain away from party animals. Yes.
Right. But I'm sorry. I guess I'm getting confused. I didn't think he was selling at all, really.
No, he is selling.
Yeah.
That's one of the first scenes with him and Reed. He talks about how it's a multi-million-dollar deal.
Okay.
That he's close to closing.
It makes total sense now. Because I was like, why is he selling the mountain? Who bought it?
Yeah.
And he wanted Reed to be the, I guess, centerpiece or the thing that the mountain was based off of. I don't know. I'm thinking of the wrong words, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then then the girl buys it and ends up making it what Marshak wanted the mountain to be.
Yeah. Marshak decides a winner-take-all race down the dome between Reed and John E. for the win. So they do, and John E. wins by jumping the one jump that no one's ever jumped before.
As far as we know.
Yeah. So the slobs win, but do they? Because the administrator manages to sell the resort anyway. But it winds up that the buyer is Ava Fabian, who wants to keep the party going and turn it into Party Mountain. So the slobs win after all.
What was it? Strategic restructuring or whatever the word they kept using?
Yeah, it was something restructuring. Damn it.
Yeah, it was like some really big word that they just for saying that this is going to be Party Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God bless the. I don't know if they actually sponsored it, but the Molson and Labatt sponsorships that showed up throughout this movie.
Sure.
Involuntarily, they sponsored it.
Yeah, I don't know if Whistler is an actual beer or if it's like one of those prop ones. I didn't get a chance to look that up.
Oh no, they were definitely getting hammered on this production.
Yeah, just because it was mixed in with all the regular. I think there was some High Life in there. They were definitely drinking the champagne of beers.
Champagne of beers.
There is a Whistler Brewing Company.
Okay, so maybe it is it. Yeah, I mean it would make sense. I mean, at least back in the 80s and 90s,
Yeah, there's not much to do in Canada besides drink and shoot guns.
Yeah, beers in Canada
and go down the dome.
Go down the dome. Oh man, that was.
That's how you get your Canadian citizenship. I've heard.
Go down the dome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go down the dome, you drink some beers, and you watch Letterkenny. And,
yep. Congratulations, you're now a Canadian citizen, eh?
All right. Well, that is Ski School. And we are going to take a quick break so you can listen to some ads and we can pay those bills. And we'll be back for a third segment. And welcome back. Now it's time for our third segment. And this week we are doing Fantasy Draft. And this week, because we watched a movie about rich assholes on a mountain fighting with party guys, we're going to do a Fantasy Draft of movie assholes. So, off podcast, we did a spinner wheel to decide order. We're going to do snake style. We're probably going to do 4 apiece. And the order is going to be myself, Mark, and then Dan. And then snake style the other way around. Okay?
Perfect.
Got it.
So, my first pick. And I don't think I have to go any further than what we decided was my favorite movie of all time with Back to the Future. And I, of course, picking Biff Tannen as my number 1 asshole.
That's a good one.
That's a great first pick. Yeah. Solid numbers through 3 movies.
Yep. He's a number 1 pick.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
He's a lottery pick. This guy, you mortgage the future of your franchise on Biff Tannen being an asshole.
He's dumb as a stump, but he's very strong.
McFly.
He's charismatic.
Just don't bring him light beer.
Yeah,
right. He knows the future.
Yeah. He's got the almanac.
A lot of games.
All right, Mark, your first pick, movie assholes.
Yeah, so I also went with one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think the person and the character can both be labeled as an asshole. I am taking Bud Kilmer from Varsity Blues, played by one John Voight.
Ooh.
He is a mean son of a bitch.
Yeah, also probably a really terrible person and also probably racist from the whole yeah, he's like, hey, we get down to the 3-yard line, let's not hand the ball to the black guy anymore.
Yeah. We talk about racist, we talk about John Voight or his character.
Yes.
But yes, Bud Kilmer was the first one I thought of when you brought up this.
All right. Okay. Good pick. Dan, what about you? You got 2 picks coming at your way.
All right. I feel strong about this first pick. He's not a Biff Tannen, but it's strong. I'm going Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore.
That's a very good pick.
It's just so many memorable quotes in that movie. Just a very, very, again, charismatic, very strong, athlete. What he was trying to win his gold jacket, never got there. But with me, I think I could get him there. With this team that I'm putting together, we'll get him that gold jacket.
Nice. He eat pieces of shit for breakfast.
That's right. That's what I need on my team.
Pieces of shit for breakfast?
Yeah, I need that mentality on this team. All right, second pick, I'm going J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man.
Ooh, interesting.
The J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson, he brings that shrewdness to the team. You know, he'll keep you in check. His major weakness is he wants Spider-Man. That's pretty much it.
All he wants.
Pictures of Spider-Man. That's it.
That's how we get him on the team. We'll get you as many pictures of Spider-Man as we can.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. Mark, second pick.
Yeah, so I went back to another childhood favorite of mine. And probably, I don't know if it'll be on your list, but I want to take them early enough to make sure I got them. I want to take Wolf the Dentist Stenson or whatever from Mighty Ducks 2, the coach of Iceland.
Okay.
Interesting pick. I think that's a sleeper pick.
Yeah.
So why is he on the team?
Well, because he's an asshole coach. By the way, all those kids really hate him, and he also takes a cheap shot at Gordon Bombay when they're having their competition.
What's his cheap shot? These are remind him that he had a DUI. That
would be great. No, in this one, it's a literal cheap shot of a hockey stick to the knee. But it's just in my head because it's just always a reminder of the weirdest country of villains ever in a movie. Iceland. That they are from Iceland. And I guarantee you it was because they wanted to make the Iceland and Greenland jokes at one point in the movie. So they were like, they have to be from Iceland.
Has Iceland ever been the villain again in a movie?
Probably not. Maybe Vikings? If you want to technically say Vikings are from Iceland? Maybe, but
maybe.
No. Not someone with a professional hockey record that would rival Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
In terms of how they describe him in the NHL.
Not bad.
Okay. Yeah. All right. For my second pick, I am going to stay in the 80s, and I'm going to go with a guy that likes to ski the slopes as well. I'm going with Ellis from Die Hard. It's the White Knight.
Bubby.
He can handle Euro trash. He can handle the Iceland people, you know?
Oh, Mark, he just took out the Iceland.
God damn it.
He's going to equalize your Iceland coach, man, because he can handle that Euro trash.
Yeah. For breakfast.
Breakfast.
All right. For my third pick, I could stay 80s, but I'm going to go a little different now. I am going to go into the 90s because, you know, sometimes man's got to make his own luck. I'm going with Billy Zane as Cal in Titanic. And you know what? See, people call him an asshole because he shoots at Leonardo DiCaprio, who cuckolded him in the movie. But who gets on a boat and saves a little girl in the process? Cal. Saves a girl.
He lied about it, though.
Sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet.
Sure.
And also, this plays into my ongoing and long-standing idea for a sitcom in which Billy Zane actually adopts the girl that plays the girl in that movie, and then they move into a beach house in Miami with his brother Willie Zane, who are identical twins.
Oh,
and it's called Keeping It Zany.
No, but it's set in the 1920s, right?
No, this is as if assume Billy Zane, the actor, adopted the girl.
The actor.
The actor?
Oh, yeah.
That's even better.
And Billy Zane plays his brother, but with a mustache. It just rips off plots from My Two Dads.
Okay.
Yeah.
But does the girl ever say she wants to go back to her real family?
Yeah, sure.
Why won't you let me go, Mr. Zane? Told you to call me Dad.
Yeah, Cal from Titanic. Good asshole.
Very good.
All right, Mark.
All right, for my third pick, I pick a man whose shimmy makes all the women in Cleveland puke. We're going to take Jack Parkman.
That's a good one. That is really good.
He is just like the wolf before him, just quintessential like sports movie asshole.
Yeah,
just alpha
dude.
male, overconfident. You know, just a complete jerk. And
some good lines.
He has some great lines, and there's some great lines from what's his name, the announcer guy at the end of the movie,
Euchre.
which is Bob Euchre. Yeah, which I always repeat at the end. With my favorite one being, and Parkman's hitting a little over 900 against Vaughn. So yeah, Jack Parkman always sticks in my mind as one of the best assholes in sports movies.
Good.
I
Good pick.
100% agree. Piggybacking off of Mark's pick, I'm staying with Major League. I'm going with Rachel Phelps, the
There you go.
owner of the then Cleveland Indians.
Oh, that's a good one.
The woman who purposely wanted a team to lose, tanking the system to move to Miami, and just really maniacal. And she played the mind games with the team. So all of our other bullies were more physical. She's the cerebral assassin in Major League. So I'm taking her to kind of she could be a poison pill for my team. But
Sure.
again, I'm hoping she plays more of a cerebral game with everyone else. Oh, man, this is a tough one for my last pick. All right, I'm gonna go with the 90s. I'm gonna go with Benjamin from Wayne's World by Rob Lowe.
That's a good one.
Just a real slimy TV executive who takes advantage of two well-meaning dummies. Just a total sellout. But he speaks multiple languages. He'll steal your woman though, so you got to be careful. But yeah, that's my team.
All righty. Good pick. Good pick. All right, Mark.
Yeah, so for my last one, going a little off the board, maybe a hot take here. I'm going to take Ferris Bueller, as he is an asshole in that entire movie.
Not a bad take at all.
Yeah.
Especially to his friend who is having a really bad day, and then just forces him to steal his dad's car. And then everything he does in that movie, he's just an asshole. But it's played off as him being the good guy. But yeah, very much in that mindset of kind of like the Dave Cameron character is supposed to be having in Ski School here, where he's kind of an asshole, but you're supposed to love him. And yeah, very much. He could be the leader of my team, coming up with the schemes on how to win.
Oh yeah, he'd be very underhanded.
Yeah,
Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. All right. For my last pick, I could go a lot of ways here, but I think I have to go with one guy that could plays the asshole all the time, every time. And I'm going back to the 80s.
I know who
going Walter Peck from Ghostbusters. I need some government on my side. I need I need to shut down you guys for one reason or the other.
You can have it your way. It's so funny you bring that up, Ant, because on Facebook Memories, a conversation you and I had as Walter Peck and Dr. Venkman popped up like 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, if he's gonna wave his dick around basically and shut you guys down for something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, he'll pull the red tape on us.
Yeah, I was thinking Buzz from Home Alone.
Good one, very good. But he has redeeming qualities, Buzz.
Does he?
At the end, he kind of makes up with Kevin, and they have their little moment together. Like he says, what does he say in the first one? He's like, it's pretty cool that you didn't burn the house down. Like giving him his flowers.
But then he ruins the Christmas pageant.
He does, yeah. In a very spectacular way.
And just plays his parents like a fiddle.
Yeah.
Beat that, you little trout sniffer.
All right, so those are our teams.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So many left on the table though.
I'm glad I got my 3 that I wanted in there. That I was worried one of you might take. The Ferris I was pretty safe on because I didn't know if you guys would go there. But
I was happy that none of us overlapped.
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone else's.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
There was no Mary Tyler Moore Jane Fonda moment.
It wasn't. Someone I had waiting in the wings just in case was Dwayne T. Robinson from Die Hard.
Okay.
The police chief.
Yeah. I had Shooter McGavin on my short list, but
okay.
Yeah. Obviously, if I had to dig for one, Shooter would have been on there. But yeah, my other like jokingly hot take one would have been Bill Murray's character in Ray in Ghostbusters.
Well, you mean Peter?
What?
Yeah.
Peter, sorry.
Yeah. He's
being a child watching Ghostbusters, he's your favorite, but growing up, like wow, he's kind of he's kind of shitty. he's making the moves on Dana Barrett when she clearly doesn't want it at first. Like, oh,
but he does redim himself.
Yeah,
he does.
that was one of the
realizes
reasons that
she's possessed.
He
says,
was
"No, thank you."
carrying. He was carrying some sedatives with him, apparently. So
That is true.
knocked her up with 300 cc's. I don't think Dana Barrett had that on her.
No.
I got them lewds.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. He did say no when
Yeah.
she what's the line? Be with me, sub creature, or something along those lines. And you're like, no, I'm okay.
She says, "I want you inside me."
Yeah,
he says, "You sound like you're a little full," or something like that.
yeah. Go ahead. No, I shouldn't. Sounds like there's someone in there already.
Yeah, but those are our lists. That's pretty good asshole list.
Good. I would love to see what people think is the best list.
Yeah, let us know who took this fantasy draft of movie assholes, and if you have movie asshole draft list that you want to share with us, hit us up on our socials on TikTampod at on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Threads, on Instagram. We are there. They Call Us a Movie on TikTok. Hit us up at Gmail, tictampod@gmail.com. And yeah, hit us up on YouTube. We got a YouTube channel. Check us out there. Look for They Call Us a Movie. We don't have like a vanity URL or anything, I don't think. But we're there. And that's a way to get a hold of us. So that's going to wrap us up for Ski School. The director of Ski School is Damian Lee. So for Dan Aquino and Mark Myers, this is Anthony DeVecchio telling Damian Lee, well, you certainly made a movie, didn't you? Thanks for listening to They Called Us a Movie. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at TicTamPod. That's TCTAM Pod. You can also check us out on TikTok at They Called Us a Movie.